Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the story, everyone. Sofia Alvarez was late, her hair a mess, shoelace untied, apron stained with ketchup, and for some unexplained reason, a piece of gum stuck to her elbow. First day as nanny to the most reclusive millionaire in Seattle, and I look like a hot dog after a tornado, she muttered. Running along the sidewalk toward the huge iron gate of the Langston mansion, she took a deep breath, pressed the doorbell, and when no one answered, simply pushed the gate open. She walked in. The mansion looked like a five-star hotel, cold, elegant, and so quiet she could hear her own embarrassment until, vroom, yes. Go. To the chandelier. Sofia's eyes widened. In the living room, two identical boys, about 6 years old, were running in circles with a drone tied to rolls of toilet paper. The drone was heading straight for the crystal chandelier, probably worth more than her car. Sofia screamed. The drone hit the chandelier. The chandelier swung like it was in an earthquake. The boys shouted, "Yeah," and clapped as if they had just won the world championship of mischief. She froze. "I'm the new nanny." "You're late," said the boy in the dinosaur t-shirt. "And you look like a dirty hamburger," added the other, pointing at her stained apron. Sofia tried to breathe. "You must be Eli and Noah, right? And I'm the nanny who was just humiliated by two miniature gremlins." While she picked up the toilet paper off the floor, she heard heavy footsteps on the stairs. A tall man in a perfectly tailored gray suit came down, looking like he had just read 3 contracts and swallowed an entire meeting. "You are the new nanny," he barked. Sofia stood up, pulled the gum off her elbow, straightened her blouse, and answered, "I am, and you really need a green juice. Those dark circles are screaming. I haven't slept since 2010. Eli and Noah grinned mischievously. The man crossed his arms. "James Carter, CEO, father. And I hate green juice." Sofia Alvarez, nanny, Latina, and a firm believer in detox juice in stressful environments. Stressful environment. The drone crashed to the floor with a lonely beep. Sofia pointed at it. Case closed. Minutes later, James was already in his office on the phone, saying words like, "Emergency meeting, $1 million merger, and shareholders won't accept delays." Sofia was trying to convince the twins to tidy up the toys in the living room when Eli whispered something in Noah's ear. They shared a knowing look and turned toward the hallway. "Secret mission, Operation Push," said Eli. "Ready, aim, push." Before Sofia could react, the two shoved her hard down the hallway. She stumbled straight into the office door, losing her balance just as James, back turned, was deep in a phone call. "What the?" The door slammed shut behind her. Locked. Outside, they heard, "Now you two can talk. Just the two of you, and maybe fall in love." Sofia stared at the door, then at the man now slowly ending his call. "Please tell me this isn't happening," James muttered. "It is. And with ketchup on my shoulder," she said, pointing to her clothes. "My kids locked you in here?" "Yes, and you too. Technically." He sighed and folded his arms. "This has never happened before. Being locked in with a woman covered in condiments or your kids playing little cupids." He looked at her for the first time without irritation. They haven't laughed in months. Since their mother passed away, they've been quiet, closed off. Sofia's expression softened. "I'm not a psychologist, but I do have a doctorate in making kids smile. And trust me, I'm not that easy to knock down. Not even by killer drones." James exhaled deeply. "I thought you were going to quit." "I thought about it. When they pushed me in here, I figured my contract was about to go up in flames. But they laughed. And that's worth more than any shareholder meeting." James studied Sofia for a moment. A curious moment. A silent moment. Outside, Eli and Noah pressed their ears to the door. "They're talking. Operation New Mom is going better than expected." A few minutes later, the house security guard unlocked the door with a spare key. James walked out first, serious but a little less stern. Sofia followed, adjusting her messy bun. She was already bracing herself to be fired. But then she heard something unexpected. "They laughed," James said, looking straight at her. For the first time in a long time, she stood still, not sure if it was a compliment or a warning, but before he left, he added, "And you still have ketchup on your shoulder." Sofia smiled. This was a beginning, a messy, funny beginning. But maybe just the kind of beginning she needed. At 8:30 that night, something unusual happened at the Langston mansion. Silence. Not the tense kind of silence James knew well, where the twins pretended to sleep until he left the room and then started another pillow fight. This silence was peaceful. James walked up the stairs slowly, ready to find the new nanny quitting or, at the very least, crying in a corner. Instead, he found the bedroom door slightly open and a scene that made him stop in the middle of the hallway. Eli and Noah were fast asleep in their beds, tucked in up to their necks with calm expressions he hadn't seen in months. And there, in a chair between the two beds, was Sofia Alvarez, her head tilted to the side, asleep, too. She had taken off her shoes and pulled her legs up onto the chair. One hand still held an open children's book on her lap. Her curly hair had come loose from the messy bun and framed her relaxed face. James stood in the doorway longer than he wanted to admit. When was the last time the boys slept without waking up crying at 2:00 inches the morning? When was the last time someone helped them relax enough to just sleep? He grabbed a blanket from the closet and gently covered Sofia. She mumbled something in Spanish in her sleep and snuggled deeper into the chair. James went downstairs to his office, but couldn't focus on anything. Every half hour, he went up to check if everything was okay, and the three of them slept like angels. For the first time in months, James slept through the night. The next morning, Sofia came down to the kitchen, yawning and rubbing her sore neck. "Morning, sleeping beauty," James said, looking up from his coffee cup. "How's your back?" "Complaining a lot. Thanks for asking." But the boys slept all night, so every cramp was worth it. James watched her pour coffee into a unicorn-shaped mug the twins had insisted on buying. "Sofia, I need to tell you something." She sat at the kitchen table, still a bit sleepy. "If you're going to fire me, at least wait till I finish this coffee. I need to be wide awake to job hunt again. It's not that, it's about last night." Sofia frowned. "I fell asleep in their room, didn't I?" "Sorry, I didn't mean to." "They slept through the night," James interrupted. "No waking up, no crying, no nightmares." "Yeah. So," James set his cup down on the table, "Sofia, you're the 9th nanny I've hired in 6 months. The other 8, they all quit. The last one didn't even come back to collect her pay." Sofia stopped sipping her coffee. "Seriously, Eli and Noah haven't slept well since their mom. Since the accident, they woke up crying every night. Nightmares, night terrors, nothing could calm them down." He ran a hand through his hair, looking tired. "I tried everything. Pediatricians, child therapists, natural remedies, music therapy. Nothing worked. And the nannies, they couldn't handle it. Some didn't even last a week." Sofia watched him as he spoke, seeing the exhausted father behind the controlling CEO for the first time. And last night was the first time they slept through the night. In 8 months. James confirmed. "What did you do?" Sofia shrugged. "I talked to them about important stuff, like which dinosaur would win in a fight against a dragon and if unicorns eat pizza. Then I read them 3 stories, sang one of my grandma's songs in Spanish, and promised I'd be here when they woke up. That's it. Sometimes the most complicated things have very simple solutions." Before James could say anything, there was a loud burst of laughter from upstairs, followed by the sound of running feet in the hallway. "Sofia, Sofia, where are you? Let's play pirates. We're astronauts. We're astronaut pirates." The twins came down the stairs like a whirlwind of morning energy. Eli was wearing his cap backward and mismatched socks. Noah had somehow put his shirt on upside down. "Well, boys, you're ready to take on the world this morning," Sofia said, opening her arms. They ran to her and threw themselves into a group hug that almost knocked over her chair. "Dad, Sofia is the best nanny in the universe," Eli declared. "The whole universe," Noah agreed. "She can do dragon voices and princess voices." James watched the scene. When was the last time the boys ran down the stairs with that kind of excitement? When was the last time they called someone the best in the universe without being sarcastic? "Hey, how about we have some breakfast?" Sofia suggested. "But first, let's fix those outfits. Noah, your shirt's upside down." "I know. It's space fashion." "Oh, of course. Why didn't I think of that?" While Sofia helped the boys get organized, James was trying to switch back into serious CEO mode. But it was hard to ignore the cheerful energy filling the house. At breakfast, Sofia turned the meal into an adventure. She gave the staff silly titles. The gardener became master of golden leaves, and the housekeeper was princess of imperial order, making Eli and Noah laugh so hard they nearly choked on their cereal. "What about you, Dad?" Noah asked. "What's your special name?" James looked up from the tablet where he was checking emails. "I don't need a baron of endless coffee," Sophia announced, pointing to the cup James had just filled for the 4th time. "Lord of eternal meetings, emperor of the serious face," Eli added. Copying his dad's stern look, Noah burst out laughing. James tried to stay serious, but the corners of his mouth twitched. "Very funny," he muttered. "Dad, come play with us in the hallway," Noah asked. "I have a meeting in just 5 minutes," Eli begged. "Sophia taught us a new dance." "Dance?" James raised an eyebrow. "It's a mix of robot and flamingo," Sophia explained, like it was the most normal thing in the world. "Very effective for chasing away morning grumpiness." "I'm not grumpy in the morning." Sophia, Eli, and Noah looked at each other and laughed at the same time. "Of course not," Sophia said with a wink. "You're a walking ray of sunshine." James sighed and went back to his tablet. But 2 minutes later, he heard music coming from the hallway and laughter echoing through the whole house. He got up to see what was going on and found Sophia dancing with the twins in the middle of the hall. She had tied a napkin around her head like a pirate scarf and was waving her arms in a crazy rhythm the boys were trying to copy. "Now it's the flamingo part," Sophia shouted. Lifting one leg, Eli and Noah tried to follow and almost fell over, laughing. "Dad, come dance," Noah called, waving him over. "I don't dance," James said. "Everyone dance," Sophia replied. "Some people just forget how." For a second, James just stood there, watching his kids laugh in a way he hadn't seen in a long time. But before he could give in to the urge to join them, the phone rang. "Meeting," he muttered, heading back to the kitchen. An hour later, James was in his office, trying to focus on a video call about acquisitions, when Sophia walked in carrying a tray. "Sorry to interrupt, Baron of Endless Coffee, but you forgot to have lunch." She set the tray on the table. There was a sandwich, fruit cut into star shapes, and a steaming cup of coffee. "I didn't ask for, the boys did. They said you forget to eat when you're working." James looked at the food, then at Sophia. "They said that, among other things, like how you work really late and sometimes sleep in the office. It's temporary, just until I close a few big deals." "Sure," Sophia said, though it didn't sound like she believed him. She was already walking out when James called after her. "Sophia." "Yes?" "Thank you for breakfast, for making them laugh, for helping them sleep." She smiled. "You're welcome, but you still haven't signed my contract. Technically, I'm still just a well-meaning intruder." James glanced at his laptop, where the employment contract had been open for 2 days. "That's true." Except a loud crash came from the kitchen, followed by laughter and 2 voices yelling, "Sorry, let me guess," James said. "Slime workshop? How'd you know?" "Because there's pink glitter on your eyebrow." Sophia quickly wiped her face. "The kitchen might look a little colorful, but I promise it all comes off with warm water and patience." James sighed. Under normal circumstances, he would have been upset. His Italian marble kitchen turning into a kid's art lab? Unthinkable. But then he heard Eli shouting, "Dad, come see the slime Sophia showed us. It's purple and makes a funny sound." James froze. When was the last time they included him in something that wasn't a parenting duty? Sophia noticed the look on his face. "They want you to be part of it, James. They just don't know how to ask. I don't know anything about slime. No one's born knowing. You learn by making a mess. Dad, come make slime with us." "Yeah, come play," Noah added. An hour later, they were all covered in colorful slime and laughing like crazy. James had green slime in his hair. Eli's hands were purple to the wrists. Noah had somehow stuck pink slime to his ear. And Sophia looked like she'd walked through a rainbow explosion. "Dad, are you going to hire Sophia forever?" Noah asked, stirring the slime with a spoon. "Please," Eli begged. "She's the coolest babysitter ever." James looked at Sophia, who was trying to get slime out of her hair. "Well, we haven't signed the official contract yet." "Then sign it," the 2 shouted. "Now," Eli added, "or we'll go on strike." Noah finished. "Strike from what?" Sophia laughed. "From everything. We won't eat, sleep, or play anymore. And we'll make a lot of noise." Noah banged the spoon against the bowl. James let out an exaggerated sigh. "You're using emotional blackmail." "Is it working?" Eli asked, winking. "Unfortunately, Yes. Sophia rushed to her bag and pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. Here. Temporary contract I prepared yesterday. James took the paper and read it quickly. It was simple but well written. Looks fair. He picked up a pen. But there's one condition. What is it? Eli suddenly appeared, holding a heart-shaped cookie they had made earlier. You have to sign while eating this, he said. It's a family tradition, Noah added. We just made it up. James looked at the pink cookie with colorful sprinkles. You invented a tradition? Yes, they said in unison. Sophia laughed. Go ahead, Mr. Langston. Traditions are sacred. James took a bite of the cookie, which was surprisingly good, and signed the contract. There, now you have an official nanny. Eli and Noah celebrated by making slime fly everywhere. After the kitchen was somewhat cleaned and the boys went off to play in the living room, Sophia was getting ready to leave when she noticed a door at the end of the hallway that was always closed. That room there, she pointed. Why is it always locked? James, who was putting away some papers, tensed up. It's just a room we don't use. Oh, Sophia shrugged. It must need some fresh air. Closed rooms start to smell musty. Sophia. That room, but she was already gone, waving cheerfully and promising to come back the next day with fun surprises. James stood still, staring at the closed door at the end of the hall. Some secrets were harder to explain than others. The next day, Sophia arrived at the Langston mansion with contagious energy and a bag full of surprises. She had promised the twins she would bring fun surprises, and she wasn't one to break promises. Good morning, Langston family, she called out as she entered, making Eli and Noah run downstairs like two miniature hurricanes. Sophia. What did you bring? Eli asked, trying to peek inside the bag. Is it a surprise, or can we take a little look? Noah added, making a puppy dog face. Patience, my curious ones. First breakfast, then guaranteed fun. James came down the stairs, impeccably dressed, tie straight, and looking like he had only slept 4 hours. Good morning, Baron of Endless Coffee. Sophia greeted cheerfully. How many cups so far today? Only 3, James replied, grabbing his fourth. Only 3. You're holding back. During breakfast, Sophia revealed her surprises: painting kits, jewelry-making supplies, and ingredients for decorated cookies. The twins were thrilled. We're going to turn this house into an art studio, she announced. What if we make macaroni necklaces? Eli suggested. Or beaded bracelets, Noah added. James watched his son's excitement while trying to review contracts on his tablet. The house was becoming more colorful and louder, and completely different from the controlled environment he was used to. Dad, are you going to join the art activities? Noah asked hopefully. Maybe later. I have an important meeting in half an hour. You always have an important meeting, Eli muttered, stirring his cereal. James looked up from his tablet, but before he could answer, Sophia stepped in. How about we let the Emperor of Business work while we create revolutionary masterpieces? An hour later, the living room had turned into a full-fledged art studio. Eli was painting an abstract canvas that looked like a rainbow explosion. Noah was stringing colorful bead necklaces, and Sophia supervised them while humming a song in Spanish. That's when Sophia's curiosity got the better of her. She had noticed that mysterious door at the end of the hallway since her first day. James always changed the subject when she asked about it, which only made her more curious. While the boys were absorbed in their creations, she decided to take a quick peek. Keep painting, boys. I'm going to get more paint upstairs, she fibbed, walking casually down the hall. The door wasn't locked, just closed. Sophia turned the knob slowly and pushed it open. The room before her was like a time capsule. Everything was perfectly preserved. Clothes still hanging in the closet, beauty products neatly arranged on the vanity, photographs scattered across the dresser. It was clearly a woman's room. In the center of the vanity sat a delicate, clearly expensive porcelain vase, decorated with hand-painted flowers. Next to it were photographs of a beautiful woman with Eli and Noah when they were younger. Sophia walked in slowly, drawn in by the feeling of the room. It felt like a sanctuary, lovingly preserved with equal parts love and pain. She stepped closer to the vanity to take a better look at the photos when she heard footsteps in the hallway. Panicked, she turned quickly and bumped into the vase. Everything happened in slow motion. The vase flew off the vanity, turned in the air, and shattered on the hardwood floor with a crash that echoed through the entire house. Oh no, 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 Sophia whispered, crouching down to try to gather the pieces. What are you doing in here? James's voice boomed through the house like thunder. He was standing in the doorway, his face red with anger, and his fists clenched. Sophia stood up slowly, porcelain pieces in her hands. James, I can explain. You went into my wife's room? He shouted, storming into the room. And you broke her favorite vase. I didn't know. It was an accident. An accident? You walked into a room you had no business being in. Sophia took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Look, I get that you're upset, but it was just a vase. Come on, you're a billionaire. Buy another one on eBay. James was speechless. He had expected tears, desperate apologies, maybe even a resignation, not such a practical reply. Just a vase, he repeated in disbelief. Yes. An object, one that can be replaced. That vase was the last birthday gift I gave her before. James's voice broke. Sophia's expression softened, finally realizing the weight of what she had done. James, Dad, Sophia. Eli appeared at the door, followed by Noah. Why are there people yelling? The boys looked at the broken porcelain on the floor and their father's distressed face. Dad, are you okay? Noah asked, concerned. I broke something important to your dad, Sophia said honestly. Something that belonged to your mom. Eli and Noah looked at each other and, without a word, ran off. James bent down and picked up one of the bigger pieces of the vase, running his finger along the broken edge. She collected antique porcelain. This one was her favorite. James, I'm really sorry. Truly, I shouldn't have gone in here. Before he could respond, Eli and Noah came running back, holding handfuls of colorful modeling clay. Dad, we're going to make a new vase, Eli announced. Just like Mom's, Noah added, only better, because it'll have glitter. The boys sat on the floor and started shaping the clay with determination. Eli worked on the base. Noah focused on the sides. It's going to be beautiful, Noah said. And it won't break because clay is strong and will make colorful flowers, Eli added. Mom liked flowers, right, Dad? James watched his sons working together to fix what had been broken, their small fingers carefully creating something new. She loved flowers, he said, his voice softer now. Sophia sat down beside them. Can I help? I promise not to break anything this time. Eli and Noah giggled. Sure, you can do the little leaves. Half an hour later, they had created a colorful clay vase decorated with pink and purple flowers, green leaves, and tiny gold stars. All done, Noah announced proudly. The new Langston family vase, upgraded version, Eli added. James picked up the creation gently. It was imperfect, lopsided, and absolutely beautiful. It's different, he said. Different can be good, Sophia replied softly. At that moment, looking at a woman wearing watermelon print socks and with green paint in her hair, James realized something unsettling. He was starting to like her. Or was it just gratitude? Because she made the boys laugh. Because she had brought life back into this quiet house. Because she wasn't afraid of messes or awkward moments. Before he could sort out his confusing thoughts, his phone rang. James Langston, he answered automatically. My dear son-in-law. A familiar grand voice rang through the line. I'm calling from the Swiss Alps to let you know I'm coming back. James closed his eyes. Lady Beatrice. Hello, Beatrice. How was the trip? Refreshing. But I missed my grandchildren. I'll be arriving tomorrow to stay a while and see how the children are doing. I hope you've hired a proper nanny this time. James looked over at Sophia, who was helping Noah add even more glitter to the vase. Yes, proper is one way to put it. Wonderful. See you tomorrow, dear. James hung up and sighed deeply. Trouble? Sophia asked. My mother-in-law. She's coming back tomorrow. And that's a bad thing because Lady Beatrice has very strong opinions about how things should be. Sophia looked around the room full of paint, clay, and glitter scattered everywhere. Who? I think tomorrow's going to be interesting. James looked at the Langston family's new vase and had the strange feeling that his life was about to get even more complicated. And for the first time in a long while, that didn't completely scare him. The next morning, the Langston mansion was in full chaos. James had woken up at 5 a.m. to get the house ready before Lady Beatrice arrived, while Sophia tried to convince Eli and Noah to wear presentable clothes. Why do we have to wear these boring clothes? Eli complained, staring at the dress shirt his dad had picked out. Because Grandma Beatrice likes kids who look like little adults, James explained, adjusting his tie for the third time. That's really weird, Noah muttered. struggling with his shirt buttons. Sophia watched all the running around with amusement. She had swapped her usual colorful outfit for something more appropriate, a navy blouse and black pants. Still, she couldn't resist wearing pineapple print socks. "Relax, guys. She's just a grandma, not the Queen of England," she said, helping Noah with his buttons. "You don't know Lady Beatrice," James murmured. "She has very strong opinions about everything." At exactly 10, a black limousine pulled up in front of the mansion. The driver quickly got out to open the back door, and out stepped an elegant woman in her 60s. Dressed as if she were heading to tea with British royalty, Lady Beatrice walked like the ground should be honored to touch her feet. She wore a beige tweed suit, pearls around her neck, a matching hat, and an expression that suggested the entire world was just slightly below her standards. "My darling grandchildren," she exclaimed in a strong British accent, opening her arms. Eli and Noah ran to greet her, clearly uncomfortable in their dressy clothes but happy to see their grandma, Grandma Beatrice. They shouted together, "Let me look at you." She inspected them from head to toe. "Much better. You finally look like proper little gentlemen." James stepped forward to greet his mother-in-law. "Beatrice, how was your trip?" "Refreshing, dear. The Alps were exactly what I needed after that dreadful time." She glanced around the house with approval. "The house looks well kept. At least that hasn't changed." That's when Lady Beatrice noticed Sophia standing near the stairs. "And this young woman is—" "Lady Beatrice, this is Sophia Alvarez, the boy's new nanny," James said. Lady Beatrice looked Sophia up and down with the same scrutiny one might use to inspect suspicious seafood. "This is the new nanny?" she asked with clear disapproval. "She looks like a children's party entertainer." The silence that followed was so heavy you could have cut it with a knife. Eli and Noah looked nervously between their grandmother and Sophia. Sophia took a deep breath, forced a smile, and said, "And you look like a Disney villain." James choked. Eli and Noah's eyes went wide. Lady Beatrice stood speechless. How dare you? Grandma, Sophia's really nice," Eli said quickly. "She makes slime and teaches us funny dances," Noah added. Lady Beatrice turned to James as if he had committed some kind of national betrayal. "James, dear, this person is corrupting my grandchildren with sticky substances. Beatrice, she's really good with the boys." "Good? She's completely inappropriate. Just look at her. Casual clothes, messy hair, and I'm almost certain I saw pineapples on her socks." "They are pineapples," Sophia confirmed cheerfully. "And in case you're wondering, yesterday I wore watermelon socks." Lady Beatrice turned to James with military determination. "James, I insist you dismiss this person immediately. My grandchildren need proper influences, not some household clown." James looked visibly torn. On one hand, Beatrice was family and had always played a big role in the boys' lives. On the other hand, Sophia had done something no one else could. She'd helped Eli and Noah sleep peacefully again and made them laugh like they hadn't in ages. "Beatrice, maybe we should discuss this privately." "No!" Eli and Noah shouted in unison. "Sophia can't leave," Eli said. "She's the best nanny in the world," Noah added. Then, to everyone's surprise, the twins ran out of the room. "Boys, come back here," James called. 10 minutes later, after searching the whole house, they found Eli and Noah curled up in the trunk of James's car, hugging each other with tears in their eyes. "What are you doing in there?" Sophia asked, concerned. "If Grandma makes you leave, we're running away too," Eli declared bravely. "We don't want another nanny," Noah sobbed. Lady Beatrice watched the scene with an unreadable expression. "Children, get out of there immediately. It's far too hot in the trunk. Only if Sophia stays," Eli bargained. Before anyone could respond, an orange and clearly annoyed cat appeared out of nowhere and leapt straight onto Lady Beatrice's back. "Ah, get this animal off me," she screamed, trying to shake off the cat that had its claws sunk into her tweed jacket. Everyone froze except Sophia, who acted quickly. She calmly stepped forward, took hold of the cat firmly but gently, and lifted it off the lady's back. "Shh, Kitty, it's okay," she murmured, stroking the animal's head. "You just wanted some attention, didn't you?" The cat immediately relaxed and began to purr in her arms. Lady Beatrice was out of breath, her hair mussed, and with small scratches on her neck. "My goodness, that wild creature. Let me take a look at those scratches," Sophia said, handing the cat to Eli. "James, do you have cotton and antiseptic?" Minutes later, Sophia was carefully cleaning the scratches on Lady Beatrice's neck with cotton soaked in antiseptic. "It might sting a little," Sophia warned gently, "but it's important to clean them well to prevent infection." Lady Beatrice remained surprisingly quiet as Sophia tended to the wounds with steady, gentle hands. "Where did you learn first aid?" Lady Beatrice asked, softer now. "My grandmother was a nurse. She always said that taking care of people is one of the most important things we can do." "Your grandmother sounds like a wise woman." She really was. Sophia finished cleaning the last scratch. "There, all done. You'll be fine." James watched the scene from a few feet away, seeing Sophia care for his mother-in-law with the same patience and kindness she showed Eli and Noah. There was something about the gentle way she treated people, the way she turned tense moments into lighter ones. He caught himself smiling, which was completely ridiculous. He was smiling because a woman wearing pineapple socks had saved his mother-in-law from an angry cat. Maybe he was completely losing his mind. Or maybe he was finally starting to get it back. 3 days after the cat incident, Sophia had a bright idea over breakfast. "How about a picnic in the park today?" she suggested, watching Eli and Noah play with their cereal instead of eating it. "Picnic!" the twins shouted in unison. James looked up from his laptop. "I have 3 meetings scheduled today, and I have 3 kids who need fresh air," Sophia countered. "Guess which is more important?" "Sophia is right, dear," Lady Beatrice said, surprising everyone. Since the scratch incident, she had developed a strange tolerance for the nanny. "The children spend too much time indoors." "See, even Her Majesty Grandma agrees with me," Sophia said, winking at Lady Beatrice, who almost smiled. "Fine," James sighed, "but just 1 hour and no mess." 2 hours later, they were at Discovery Park, Seattle's largest park, with a picnic basket Sophia had filled with sandwiches, fruit, juice, and of course, star-shaped cookies. "Daddy, look how big it is," Noah exclaimed, running across the grass. "Can we explore it all?" Eli asked, already planning an adventure. "Of course you can," Sophia answered before James could protest. "But don't go too far from us." James spread the checkered blanket on the grass with military precision, making sure it was perfectly aligned. Sophia watched with amusement. "You know it's just a blanket, right? Not an official document. I like things to be organized. I noticed you even line up your pencils by size." During the meal, everything was going smoothly until Sophia reached for the juice bottle that had rolled away. In the process, she bumped James's glass, spilling orange juice all over his dress pants. "Oh no," she cried, grabbing napkins frantically. "Your pants? They probably cost more than my rent." James looked at the orange stain spreading across the expensive fabric. "It's nothing," he said, though his voice was tight. "Liar, you're having an internal heart attack over those pants." Meanwhile, Eli and Noah had found a patch of soft earth and were digging with their hands. "Boys, what are you doing?" James asked, still dabbing at his pants with a napkin. "Digging a hole to hide secrets," Eli replied excitedly. "Secrets don't need to be buried," James said automatically. "Of course they do," Noah insisted. "Otherwise, everyone finds out." "And what kind of secrets do you have?" Sophia asked, curious. We like it when Daddy stays home," Eli said quietly. "And we're scared he works so much he'll forget about us," Noah added. James stopped rubbing at his pants. "You don't need to be afraid of that." "But you're always working," Eli said. "Like a robot. I work for you, so you can have a good life." "But we want to have a life with you," Noah said simply. Sophia watched James's face twist with guilt and pain. "James," she said softly, "they just want I know what they want." He cut her off, standing up abruptly. "But you don't understand how the real world works. I have responsibilities." "Your biggest responsibilities are right here," Sophia said, pointing at the boys. "Don't tell me how to raise my kids. Someone needs to. You treat them like end-of-month reports." The silence that followed was sharp. Eli and Noah stopped digging and looked nervously at the adults. "How dare you?" "I dare because someone has to." Sophia stood up too. "You schedule time with them like they're business meetings. I'm doing the best I can." "Doing the bare minimum isn't the same as doing your best." James clenched his fists, clearly struggling to stay composed. "You don't understand anything about my situation. I understand your kids are growing up without a present father. I understand they think they have to dig holes to hide their feelings." "That's enough," James said, his voice dangerously low. Sophia took a breath, realizing she had gone too far. Eli and Noah were hugging each other, frightened by the argument. "Boys, how about we go check out the lake?" she suggested gently. They spent the rest of the afternoon in tense silence. James sat on the blanket, pretending to read emails on his phone. Sophia played with the twins, but without her usual energy. When the sun started to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Eli and Noah fell asleep on the blanket, worn out from running around. Sophia walked over to James, who was still staring at his phone. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I shouldn't have spoken to you that way." "You were right," he answered, still not looking up. "Not completely." "No, completely." James finally looked at her. "I don't know how to do this on my own. Before the accident, she took care of all this. I just worked." "James, have you ever thought," he interrupted, "that maybe I work so much because I don't know how to just be a dad? Because being the provider is easier than being the caregiver?" Sophia sat next to him on the blanket. "Have you ever thought about just being human now and then?" she asked gently. "Instead of being the perfect CEO or the perfect father, just be James." He looked at her, really looked at her for the first time. He saw how the setting sun turned her curly hair to gold, how she had a smudge of dirt on her face from playing with the boys, how her eyes were kind even when she challenged him. "I don't remember what it's like to just be James. Maybe I can help you figure it out." They were very close now. James could smell her sweet perfume, see the tiny freckles on her nose that makeup didn't quite hide. "Sophia." "Yes." He leaned in slowly. She didn't move away. Their faces were inches apart when a runaway scooter, steered by a child who had lost control, came crashing straight into James's shin. He yelled, rolling onto the grass and clutching his leg. "James." Sophia knelt beside him. "Are you okay?" "My shin." "Let me see." She gently examined his shin. "It's not broken, but you're definitely getting a big bruise." "I'm sorry, sir," the scooter kid shouted, running off after his parents. Sophia helped James up, letting him lean on her as he limped toward the car. "Lean on me," she said. "Take it slow. I can manage on my own," he protested. "Of course you can, mister. Total independence. Now hush and let me help." James stopped halfway and started laughing. "What?" Sophia asked, concerned. "I almost kissed you, and then got attacked by a scooter." He laughed harder. "This kind of thing only happens to me." Sophia started laughing, too. Well, at least it was memorable. Definitely memorable. As they hobbled to the car together, James realized it was the first time he had truly laughed in months, and all because of a woman who spilled juice on his clothes and made him want to feel human again. The morning after the scooter incident, James came down to breakfast limping and found a surprise on the table, a golden key tied with a red ribbon. "What's this?" he asked, picking up the key. "Your housemaster key," Eli announced proudly. "We asked Grandpa Henry to make a special copy for Sophia," Noah added. Sophia came out of the kitchen carrying a tray of star-shaped pancakes. "The boys insisted I needed full access to the house for creative emergencies," she explained. Making air quotes, "creative emergencies?" James repeated, raising an eyebrow. "Like when we want to throw a surprise party," said Eli. "Or turn a room into a spaceship," Noah added. James looked at the key, then at Sophia, then at his sons, who were staring at him with anticipation. "I'm not sure this is a good idea." "Oh, come on, mister. Worry," said Sophia, sitting on the table. "It's just a key. What could possibly go wrong?" 3 hours later, James found out exactly what could go wrong. He was in his office preparing for an important meeting with Japanese investors when he heard strange noises coming from the downstairs conference room. Sounds that included laughter and banging. "What the heck?" he muttered, heading down the stairs. When he opened the conference room door, James walked into a surreal scene. The mahogany table had been turned into a pirate ship, complete with sails made from bed sheets, ropes tied around the chairs, and a homemade pirate flag flapping in the air conditioning. Eli was standing on the bow of the table ship, wearing a pirate hat made of newspaper. Noah was swinging a foam sword, and Sophia. Sophia was sitting in the executive chair, wearing a makeshift tricorn hat and sketching a treasure map. "Ahoy, Captain James." Sophia called out cheerfully, "Welcome aboard the Langston." "What did you do to my conference room?" James shouted. "We turned it into a pirate camp," Eli explained. "Sophia said every overly serious room needs more adventure. The investors are arriving in 10 minutes. "What investors?" Sophia asked, genuinely confused. The Japanese ones, the most important meeting of the quarter? Sophia went pale. Oh, that's a problem. A problem? James started ripping the sheets off the chairs. I'm about to lose a $50 million deal because you turned my conference room into a theme park. Easy, Captain Panic, Sophia said, getting up. We'll fix this in 10 minutes. How? Improvise. She clapped her hands. Boys, lightning cleanup. Go. That's when the doorbell rang. James froze. The investors were early. Henry will get it, he said, running a hand through his hair. I just need 5 minutes too. The door opened, and Henry entered, followed by 3 impeccably dressed Japanese men in suits. Mr. Langston, may I present Mr. Carding, Zutsuki, Mr. Kato, and Mr. Nakamura, Henry said formally. The investors stepped into the room and paused, taking in the scene. James, with a paper eye patch stuck to his face from the cleanup attempt. Eli and Noah, still dressed like pirates, and Sophia frozen mid-step with a foam sword in hand. Total silence. Treasure ahead, Noah yelled, breaking the silence. Noah, James hissed, mortified. Mr. Suzuki, apparently the group's leader, looked around with an unreadable expression. Interesting, he said in flawless English. Very creative. James took a deep breath and made the riskiest business move of his career. Gentlemen, welcome to our business creativity simulation exercise, he said, keeping the eye patch on. We're testing non-traditional methods to spark innovative thinking. The Japanese men exchanged curious looks. A simulation? Mr. Kato asked. Exactly, said James, praying this would work. Studies show that playful environments increase productivity by 200%. Sophia picked up on what James was doing and jumped into the act. It's a groundbreaking technique, she said confidently. When we step outside the corporate comfort zone, we discover unexpected solutions. Fascinating, Mr. Nakamura murmured. In Japan, we greatly value innovation in workplace methods, and childhood creativity is the purest form of innovation, Sophia added. That's why we involve the children in the process. Eli and Noah, not totally sure what was happening but sensing they should cooperate, gave a polite bow to the guests. Hello, they said together. The investors smiled, clearly charmed. Impressive, said Mr. Suzuki. You really do think outside the box. That's when Sophia had a sudden inspiration. Gentlemen, would you like to try our innovative sushi? She asked. It's a very special fusion. Sushi? James's eyes widened. Of course. Sophia rushed to the snack table where the kids' fruit was. Eli, Noah, creative sushi operation. Go. In 5 minutes, she had created sushi using banana slices as fish, cream cheese for rice, and dried seaweed. She miraculously found in the pantry. She arranged it all on elegant plates she grabbed from the kitchen. Banana and cream cheese sushi, she announced solemnly, a fusion of Eastern tradition and Western innovation. The Japanese investors tried it with curiosity, and to everyone's surprise, they seemed genuinely impressed. Unusual, but delicious, Mr. Kato admitted. Interesting texture, agreed Mr. Nakamura. And the presentation is creative, added Mr. Suzuki. 2 hours later, after a meeting that mixed serious business with creative enterprise demonstrations, James had closed the deal. We look forward to working with such an innovative company, Mr. Suzuki said as they said goodbye, especially if we can join in more creative simulations, Mr. Kato added with a laugh. When the investors left, James sank into a chair, still processing what had just happened. I can't believe that worked, he murmured. Of course it worked, Sophia said proudly. Banana sushi is revolutionary. Dad, you were the coolest pirate ever, Eli said. And the meeting was way more fun that way, Noah added. James took off the eye patch and looked at Sophia. You saved my $50 million contract with banana and cream cheese. Technically, you all saved it with creativity and teamwork. I need to thank you properly, James said hesitantly. How about dinner tonight? Sophia blinked, surprised. Dinner? Professional, of course. James hurried to clarify. To discuss future creative strategies. Sure, Sophia said with a smile. Creative strategies, completely professional. Eli and Noah exchanged mischievous grins. Operation New Mom was going better than expected. At 7 that evening, James was waiting for Sophia in front of Le Bernard. one of Seattle's most elegant French restaurants. He had changed clothes 3 times and checked his hair in the car mirror at least 5. It's just a professional dinner, he kept telling himself. When Sophia arrived by taxi, James nearly choked. She wore a simple blue dress that made her eyes stand out and had tamed her wild curls into an elegant bun. Yet, she still kept her unique touch with star-shaped gold earrings. "Hi, Coffee Baron," she greeted cheerfully. "This place looks expensive. Are you sure my nanny's salary covers it?" "My treat," James said, offering his arm. "You saved my contract today." The restaurant was everything James expected. Soft lighting, tables with white linen cloths, and waiters who looked like they had ballet training. Sophia looked around wide-eyed. "How many forks are normal at a table?" she whispered when they sat down. "It depends on the number of courses," James answered, amused by her concern. "And what's the difference between all these forks?" "Well, this one is for salad, this one for the main course, and this smaller one for dessert." Sophia picked up the main course fork and began eating the salad with it. "There, problem solved. 1 fork for everything." The waiter, Antoine, approached with a discreet look of horror. "Would mademoiselle like to try our special dish, grilled salmon with hollandaise sauce and white asparagus?" "Sounds great," Sophia said. "But do you have ketchup?" Antoine almost dropped his tray. "Ketchup, mademoiselle?" "Yes. That tasty red sauce. I put ketchup on almost everything." "Madame," Antoine said with an offended French accent, "our chef, Pierre, would not allow ketchup in his kitchen, not even in a life-or-death situation." "Relax," Sophia said with a shrug. "I'll survive without it." James tried not to laugh at the traumatized look on the waiter's face. During dinner, they talked about everything. Sophia's childhood in a big, noisy family, James's dreams before becoming CEO, and plans to make Eli and Noah happier. "Want to hear something funny?" James said, as he finished his second glass of wine. "Always," Sophia replied. "Before you came along, I had completely forgotten what it felt like to laugh, and today I laughed more than I have in the last 6 months. Laughing is important. My grandmother always said a day without laughter is a day wasted. Your grandmother sounds like a special person. She taught me that sometimes the best medicine is making someone smile." James watched her as she spoke, noticing how her eyes sparkled when she talked about her family. "Can I try to make you laugh now?" he asked nervously. "You can try. Why did the Scarecrow win an award?" "I don't know why. Because he was outstanding in his field." Sophia stared at him for a second, processing the joke, then burst out laughing so hard that nearby tables turned to look. "Oh, wow." She laughed until tears streamed down her cheeks. "That was terrible. Wonderfully terrible." James started laughing too, caught up in her joy. "Was it that bad?" "Horrible, but in the cutest way possible." When they left the restaurant, a street musician was playing jazz on a nearby corner. The music floated in the warm evening air. "That's such a beautiful song," Sophia said. James glanced around. The street was nearly empty, lit only by old street lamps. "Would you like to dance?" he asked impulsively. "Here in the street? Why not?" For the first time in his adult life, James did something completely spontaneous. He took off his tie, tossed his suit jacket onto a bus stop bench, and held out his hand to Sophia. She took it, smiling. They danced slowly on the sidewalk, moving to the soft rhythm of the saxophone. James discovered that Sophia smelled like vanilla, and that laughing with someone was even better than laughing alone. "James," she said softly. "Yes, thank you for letting me be myself, even when I spill things and make bad jokes. Thank you for helping me remember who I am beyond my work." They were very close now, swaying gently. James leaned his face toward hers. "Oh my God, it's burning!" Sophia suddenly shouted. James pulled back, confused, until he saw she had bumped into the side of a nearby Mexican food truck and knocked over an entire container of spicy sauce onto both of them. "It's burning!" She danced in place, trying to wipe the sauce off her clothes. "This is napalm disguised as food." James, also covered in red sauce, started to laugh. "This only happens to me," he said, helping her clean up with napkins. "Apparently, it happens to me, too." An hour later, they came back home, still with hot sauce stains on their clothes and smiles on their faces. "Welcome back," Eli shouted as they walked in. "Wait till you see our surprise." Noah added. The twins ran over with their faces covered in black paint in elaborate patterns. We got tattoos just like Dad's, Eli announced proudly. Tattoos? James frowned. I don't have tattoos. Yes, you do, said Noah. The dragon one on your arm. James looked at his own arm, confused, until he remembered the temporary tattoo the boys had put on him weeks ago that he had forgotten to take off. Oh, that one. Sophia laughed again. Well, I guess now you're a fully tattooed family. James looked at his paint-covered sons, Sophia with hot sauce in her hair, and himself with a crooked tie and stained shirt. It was the first time in a long while he felt like part of a real family, even if it was a crazy, messy, condiment-covered family. The next morning, James came down for breakfast, still smiling from the night before. Dinner had been different, a good kind of different. But his smile faded quickly when he saw Eli and Noah at the table. Both of them had huge dragon tattoos plastered across their faces. Red and gold dragons stretched from their foreheads to their cheeks, making them look like tiny Viking warriors. What is this? James shouted. Good morning, Dragon Dad. Eli greeted cheerfully, pointing to the tattoo that covered half his face. We're warrior brothers now, added Noah, flexing his non-existent muscles. Take that off right now. Why? Eli asked, genuinely confused. You have a tattoo, too. James looked at his own arm, where the dragon sticker was still stuck. That's different. You can't just go around with body art on your face. Why not? Noah insisted. Because you're kids. Kids need discipline, rules. They need freedom to express themselves, Sophia suggested, walking in from the kitchen with a cup of coffee. James turned to her. Sophia, you saw this and didn't do anything. I did, and I thought it was creative. They spent an hour picking the perfect dragons. Creative? James ran a hand through his hair. They're going to school like this. What will the teachers think? That they have imagination. Sophia answered simply, that's not imagination. That's a lack of boundaries. James was clearly losing his patience. You need to understand there are rules, protocols, proper behavior. Proper for who? Sophia asked, crossing her arms. For society, for their future. They can't grow up thinking they can just do whatever they want. James, they're 6-year-olds with temporary tattoos, not criminals. That's how it starts. James gestured exasperatedly. Today it's tattoos. Tomorrow it's piercings, then real tattoos. And 10 years later they're living in a van, painting abstract art. Sophia raised an eyebrow at him. Do you want robots or children? Kids who follow a preset program or real children with their own personalities? James was quiet for a moment. I don't know how to do this, he admitted softer now. Raising them alone. Making the right decisions. What if I mess everything up? Eli and Noah looked at their dad, realizing for the first time that he wasn't just mad. He was scared. Dad, Eli said gently, you're not going to mess anything up. How do you know? James asked, sitting down at the table. Because you care about us, Noah said, stepping closer. Dads who care don't mess things up. Sophia sat down next to James. James, want to know a secret? Everyone who takes care of kids is scared of messing up. I'm scared every single day. You? But you're so confident on the outside. On the inside, I'm always wondering, am I doing this right? Are they going to grow up okay? Or will they need therapy because of me? Seriously, welcome to the club, Sophia said with a smile. Everyone's just winging it. Some people just pretend they know what they're doing better than others. James let out a long sigh. I'm sorry, he told Eli and Noah. Sometimes Dad gets nervous because I just want you to be happy, and I don't always know the best way to do that. We are happy, Dad, Eli said, especially when you're not working all the time and when you play with us, Noah added. All right, you can keep the tattoos for today. Really? Both shouted. Really? But tomorrow they come off before school. Deal, they said in unison. Now you have to get a tattoo, too, Dad, Noah said with a mischievous smile. What? No, I don't need. But Eli had already run off to get more temporary tattoos. It's tradition, he insisted. Everyone in the tattooed family has to have one. 5 minutes later, James was sitting still while Eli carefully pressed a gold sun tattoo onto his forehead. Hold still, Dad, Eli instructed. Art can't be rushed. "It looks amazing," said Noah. "You look like a sun warrior." When they finished, Sophia pulled out her phone. "No," James said, trying to cover his face. "Oh, this is definitely going on social media," she said, snapping a photo. "Sophia, don't." "James Langston, CEO and Sun Warrior Tattoo Dad, real life," she typed, pretending to post. "If you post that, You'll what?" she asked, grinning slightly. James looked at her, holding the phone, at his sons laughing, and at the whole ridiculous scene, and for the first time in a long while, he smiled, really smiled. Not the polite kind, not the business meeting kind, a real, genuine smile from deep inside. "Go ahead and post it," he said, "but make sure the caption says, 'I'm the best tattooed dad in Seattle. Now you're talking.'" Sophia laughed, taking more pictures. Eli and Noah threw themselves into their father's arms, everyone laughing together, and James realized something. Maybe he didn't know exactly how to be a dad, but he was starting to learn that sometimes not knowing was exactly how you figure it out. On Thursday morning, Sophia showed up at the Langston mansion with an unusual look. She seemed almost shy. "Good morning, tattooed family," she greeted. But without her usual energy, "Sophia." Eli and Noah ran to hug her. "Are we building a pillow fort today or making glow-in-the-dark slime?" Noah suggested. "Actually," Sophia hesitated. "I need to talk to you about something." James looked up from his newspaper, noticing her serious tone. "What's going on?" "My grandma, she's not feeling very well. I need to visit her today. Spend the day with her." "Your grandma is sick?" Eli asked, worried. "It's nothing serious," Sophia quickly reassured them. "She's just feeling a little lonely. That happens sometimes with older folks, and they just need some company." "But what about us?" Noah asked, looking sad. "You're staying with your dad. It'll be fun." James felt something strange in his stomach. Emptiness? Annoyance? He couldn't quite name it. "Of course," he said, trying to sound casual. "No problem. We'll be just fine." "Are you sure?" Sophia looked at him closely. "I can come another day." "Don't be ridiculous," James said, folding the newspaper with a bit more force than needed. "I'm their father. I can take care of my own kids for one day." "Of course you can," Sophia said, though she still looked a little worried. "It's just, they usually follow a pretty specific routine with me. We're perfectly capable of sticking to a routine." Eli and Noah exchanged glances, sensing the tension between the adults. "Sophia, are you coming back tomorrow?" Eli asked. "Of course I am." She knelt down to their level. "It's just one day. I'll be back tomorrow with news from Grandma Clara." "Promise, no prest." "I promise." She kissed both of their foreheads. "And you two promise to be good for Dad." "We promise," they said together, though not too enthusiastically. After Sophia left, the house felt oddly quiet. James tried going back to his paper, but he couldn't focus. Eli and Noah sat on the couch, staring at the door, as if hoping she'd come right back through it. "Well," James said, folding the newspaper, "what do you guys want to do today?" "Play with Sophia," Eli answered automatically. "She's not here." "What else?" "I don't know," Noah said with a shrug. James sighed. "How did Sophia make it all seem so easy? How about we watch some TV?" "Sophia says too much TV makes your brain melt," Eli replied. "How about we read a book?" "Sophia does funny voices when she reads," Noah said. "Do you know how to do voices?" "Not exactly." The hours dragged on. James tried several activities: painting, which ended with paint all over the table; cooking, which resulted in burnt cookies; and even an attempt at dancing, which made the boys laugh, but not in the good way. By 2:00 the afternoon, desperate, James decided to try building with Legos. "Let's make a castle," he suggested, sitting on the living room floor. "Sophia always makes spaceships," Eli said. "Today we're making castles." They spent an hour building in relative silence. James was starting to feel proud. Maybe he really could handle this alone, when Noah accidentally knocked over his tower. "No!" Noah cried in frustration. It was almost done. "It's okay," James said, trying to help. "We can build another." "I don't want another one." Noah burst into tears. "I want Sophia. She knows how to fix things." Eli was getting upset, too. "Where is she? Why did she leave?" "She didn't leave," James said, trying to stay calm. She's just visiting her grandmother. What if she doesn't come back? Noah sobbed. What if she leaves like all the other nannies? James felt a pang in his chest. He had wondered the same thing but didn't want to admit it. She'll come back, he said, trying to sound convincing, but as he tried to comfort the boys, James leaned too far forward, and a bunch of Legos got stuck in his gelled hair. Dad, you have Legos in your hair, Eli pointed out, pausing his tears. James tried to pull them out, but they were firmly stuck. Maybe you two can help me. Half an hour later, James was sitting on the bathroom floor, while Eli and Noah carefully removed the Legos from his hair. The house remained quiet in a way it hadn't been for weeks. Dad, Eli said as he pulled out a red piece. Yes? Do you miss Sophia too? James was silent for a moment. Maybe a little. She makes the house more noisy. Good noisy, Noah said thoughtfully. Good noisy, Eli agreed. That's true. That night, after finally getting the boys to sleep after 3 poorly told stories and 2 failed lullabies, James sat alone in the living room, staring at his phone. It would be ridiculous to call her. It was just one day. He was a perfectly capable adult, but the house was so quiet. Before he could overthink it, he dialed her number. Hello, Sophia's tired voice answered. Hi, it's me, James. James, is everything okay? Are the boys all right? They're asleep. Finally, he hesitated. How's your grandmother? Better. She really needed the company. Thanks for asking. Sophia, James swallowed his pride. I think we miss you. There was silence on the other end. James, not just them, me, too. The house feels strange without you. Oh, sorry if that's inappropriate. I just wanted you to know. It's not inappropriate, she said softly. I miss you all too. Really? Especially you with Legos in your hair. Eli sent me a picture. James laughed in spite of himself. That was challenging. James, can I send you something? Of course. 2 minutes later, a voice message arrived on WhatsApp. James pressed play and heard Sophia singing a song she had obviously made up on the spot. For James, who tried to be super dad, but ended up with Lego in his hair, oh, so bad. For Eli, brave as a lion, and Noah with a heart that keeps on trying, tomorrow I'll come back with surprises to share, and maybe some real mischief. I swear, sleep well, my dear family. Sophia will be back soon. You'll see. James listened to the message 3 times, smiling like an idiot. Maybe admitting he needed someone wasn't so terrible after all, especially when that someone sang silly songs just to make him smile. On Friday morning, James woke up earlier than usual, not because of work, but because he was eager for Sophia to return. The boys had asked about her at least 20 times the day before, and he had kept checking the clock. At exactly 9, they heard keys jingling at the front door. She's back! Eli and Noah shouted at the same time, racing down the stairs like 2 little tornadoes. James followed more slowly, trying to keep his composure, but feeling a strange lightness in his chest. Sophia came in carrying 2 colorful shopping bags and a small suitcase. She wore a bright yellow blouse, jeans with embroidered flower patches, and, of course, patterned socks. This time with pink flamingos. My favorite family, she exclaimed, dropping her bags to hug Eli and Noah. Did you miss me? So much. Both boys shouted, clinging to her like she'd been gone for months instead of just a day. And you, Coffee Baron, she asked, looking at James. How was your solo parenting experience? We survived, he said, trying to sound casual. Just a few Lego-related accidents. I saw the pictures, she laughed. Very stylish. Confused construction worker look. Sophia, what did you bring? Eli asked, eyeing the bags with curiosity. Oh, this. She picked up her luggage. My grandma Clara made some special things for you, and I brought some surprises too. From the first bag, she pulled out colorful wool scarves that Grandma Clara had knitted. Blue for Eli, red for Noah. From the second came an impressive variety of new toys, animal puppets, a kid's magic set, friendship bracelet materials, and a portable karaoke machine. Karaoke? Noah yelled, pulling the machine out of the box. Now we're talking, said Eli. We can put on shows. Speaking of shows, Sophia's eyes lit up with a mischievous sparkle. How about we organize a talent show right here? right now. Yes. The boys jumped with excitement. James, who had been watching the scene while sipping coffee, tried to quietly slip away. Well, I have a few calls to make. Nope. Sophia caught him by the arm. You're our official judge. Judge? Yes, every talent show needs a judge, and you have the perfect face for it. What face? That grumpy critic face, who takes everything way too seriously, she teased. Eli and Noah laughed. It's true, Dad. Eli agreed. You'd look like a strict judge. Thanks for the honesty, James muttered, though he was smiling. 20 minutes later, the living room had been transformed into a makeshift theater. Sophia had set up chairs in rows, created a stage using a colorful rug, and even made signs with the performers' names written in crayon. James was placed in a big chair front and center with a notepad and pen. Now, Mr. Serious Judge, Sophia instructed, you'll give scores from 1 to 10 for each act, and no giving everyone a 10 just to be nice. I'd never give a 10 just to be nice, James said. Exactly. That's why you're perfect for the job. The first act was Eli doing magic tricks. He made a scarf disappear. It actually fell behind him, turned a coin into the same coin, and tried to pull a rabbit out of a hat, but ended up pulling out one of the new puppets. Score? Sophia asked, pretending to be the announcer. James put on a serious face. 8. Good effort. But the rabbit should have been real. Eli laughed and took a dramatic bow. The second act was Noah singing a song he made up about his stuffed dinosaur. The lyrics included lines like, Rex is really cool, eats plants, and follows rules, and dinosaurs are fun, especially the friendly ones. 9, James announced. Original composition and strong performance. Noah did a little victory dance. The third act was Sophia trying to make the flamingos on her socks dance. She moved her feet so dramatically that she tripped and fell onto the couch. 7, James said, trying not to laugh. Points off for coordination. But creativity was impressive. Harsh judge. Sophia muttered, pretending to be insulted. Then came the grand finale. And now, Sophia announced, a special performance by the Langston brothers with a surprise guest. Me, Eli and Noah took their places on the stage with the karaoke machine. Sophia stood next to them, just a bit behind. This song, Eli said seriously, is about our family and about someone really special, Noah added. They started singing a simple tune, clearly made up on the spot. Daddy works a lot, a lot, a lot. But he's nice when he takes a break. Eli and Noah are brothers who like to have fun. Our house was really quiet until someone showed up who makes us laugh and never wants to leave. Sophia is our nanny, but she's more than that. She takes care of our hearts, and that's worth a lot. She's kind of like a mom of the heart who came to stay and became part of our family. The silence that followed was deep. James felt something stir in his chest. He looked at Sophia and saw tears in her eyes. She covered her mouth with her hands, clearly touched. Mom of the heart, Eli repeated, looking at her. That's how we see you. If you want to be, Noah added quickly. We know you're not our real mom. But do you have room in your heart for a borrowed mom? Sophia asked, her voice shaking. Of course, they both shouted, running to hug her. James watched it all, trying to process what he was feeling. Seeing his kids so happy, so whole, watching Sophia be accepted by them like that. Seeing how she had become such an important part of their lives without him even realizing it. And the score, Mr. Judge? Eli asked, still hugging Sophia. James cleared his throat, trying to steady his voice. 10, he said quietly. Definitely a 10. Sophia looked at him over the boys' heads. Their eyes met, and something passed between them. A shared understanding, a moment of recognition. James, she said softly. He got up from the armchair and walked over. Without a word, Sophia reached out and opened her arm to include him in the group hug. James hesitated for just a second before joining them. But when Sophia pulled him closer, when he felt the warmth of the family forming right there, something inside him broke and healed at the same time. He couldn't let go. He stood there, hugging his sons and the woman who had come into their lives as a nanny and was becoming what? He wasn't sure yet, but he knew he didn't want that moment to end. Thank you, he whispered into Sophia's ear. For what? For bringing us back to life. She hugged tighter, and James finally understood what he'd been trying to ignore for weeks. He wasn't just grateful to Sophia Alvarez, he was falling in love with her, And for the first time since his wife had passed, that didn't scare him. In fact, it made sense. Like all the puzzle pieces were finally falling into place. "Hey," Eli said, still in the middle of the hug. "Now that we're an official family, can we make slime in Dad's office?" James laughed. A real, honest laugh. "Let's take it one step at a time, champ." But even as he spoke, he knew that anything felt possible now, especially with Sophia by his side. The morning after the talent show, Eli and Noah were oddly quiet during breakfast. They whispered to each other, exchanged sneaky glances, and stopped talking every time James or Sophia came near. "Are you two okay?" Sophia asked, picking up on their suspicious behavior. "Very quiet for you guys." "We're great," Eli answered quickly, elbowing Noah. "Totally normal," Noah added, trying to look innocent. James looked up from his tablet. "When you two are acting totally normal, it usually means you're up to something." "It's not us," Eli protested. "We're angels. Langston family angels," Noah agreed, making a pretend halo above his head. Sophia and James exchanged a look, suspicious, but they let it go. Later, while Sophia was tidying up the playroom and James worked in his office, the twins locked themselves in their bedroom for an emergency meeting. Operation Parent Kiss, Eli whispered like a secret agent. "Mission. Get them to kiss already," Noah added. "They keep looking at each other like they're in love," Eli noted. "And yesterday during the hug, Dad turned red," Noah said. "And Sophia always smiles like a goofball when he talks to her. So, they like each other. But they're too clueless to see it, or too shy to do anything about it. That's why we have to help." Eli grabbed paper and crayons, assuming the role of mastermind. "First try. Lock them in a small space. We did that on the first day. It didn't work. Second try. Create a romantic situation." "Like what?" "Like a wedding?" Noah exclaimed, clapping. "Genius." Eli started drawing. "Let's make a magic wedding with a ceremony and everything. And they'll have to kiss because that's tradition. What if they say it's just pretend?" Eli frowned, thinking, then we say it's a real wedding. And if they really like each other, they'll end up kissing anyway. "You're a genius, Eli." "I know. Now, let's get everything ready." 2 hours later, James stepped out of his office to grab some water and found the living room completely transformed. Colorful streamers hung from the ceiling. Paper flowers covered the floor, and what looked suspiciously like a makeshift altar had been built from couch cushions. "What is this?" he asked, confused. Eli and Noah popped out, wearing toilet paper crowns and towels tied around their shoulders like capes. "Surprise!" they shouted in unison. "You turned the living room into—" "What exactly?" "A chapel," Eli said proudly. "For your wedding." "My what?" James nearly choked. "With who?" "With Sophia, of course," Noah said, like it was obvious. "Boys, you can't just organize a wedding." "Sophia," Eli shouted, "come see your surprise." Sophia walked in from the kitchen, drying her hands on a towel. She stopped when she saw the decorations. "Wow, this is very colorful." "It's your wedding chapel," Noah announced. "You and Dad are getting married right now." "Getting married?" Sophia looked at James, who was clearly starting to panic. "Boys, weddings take planning. We've planned everything." Eli ran off to fetch a crumpled piece of paper. "Look, guest list. The two of us, Grandma Beatrice, Mr. Henry, Mrs. Clara, and the neighbor's cat if he wants to come. Music. We're going to sing," Noah added. "Food. Sandwiches, and the chocolate cake Mrs. Clara made yesterday. And special crowns for the bride and groom." Eli showed 2 toilet paper crowns decorated with glued-on flowers. James tried to slip quietly toward the door. "This is very sweet, boys, but I have an important call." "No," Noah blocked the way. "It's family tradition. Everyone who lives here has to get married." "That's not a real tradition," James protested. "It is now," Eli insisted. "We just made it up, like the cookie tradition, and traditions are sacred." Noah finished, using Sophia's usual argument. Sophia laughed at the situation. "Boys, you're adorable, but real weddings need people who love each other." "You do love each other," Eli said, exasperated. "Everyone can see it. It's obvious," Noah agreed. "You're always looking at each other with that in-love face." James and Sophia exchanged glances, both blushing. "Boys," James began. "No more boys." Eli placed the toilet paper crown on James's head. "You're getting married now. And you have to kiss at the end, Noah added, putting the other crown on Sophia. Noah, Sophia tried. It's tradition to kiss at a wedding. They both shouted at the same time. Somehow, James and Sophia found themselves standing in front of a pillow altar, wearing ridiculous crowns, while Eli officiated the ceremony. Reading from a scribbled paper, dearly gathered, Eli began solemnly. We're here to marry Daddy James to Mommy Sophia. Mommy Sophia, she repeated, surprised. Heart Mom, remember? Noah winked. Do you promise to love each other forever and make lots of slime together? Eli continued. Boys, this is ridiculous, James said. It would be ridiculous, Sophia interrupted, looking straight into his eyes. If I wasn't actually in love with you, too. The silence that followed was broken only by Eli and Noah gasping. James stared at her, processing what she had just said. You're in love with me? Completely, she said with a nervous smile. Since the day you signed my contract with slime on your hands. James took a deep breath. I've been in love with you too. For weeks. Kiss now. Eli and Noah shouted. For the first time, James didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, cupped Sophia's face in both hands, and kissed her. It was a gentle kiss, filled with all the care that had grown between them during those crazy months. A kiss that spoke of family, second chances, and love found in the middle of the chaos. Eli and Noah began tossing confetti they had hidden in plastic bags, yelling, Long live the bride and groom! We did it! Now we're a real family. When they finally pulled apart, James and Sophia were covered in colorful paper, smiling like teenagers. So, James said, I guess we just got married in a ceremony officiated by 2 6-year-olds with toilet paper crowns. And confetti rain, Sophia added. That was the silliest wedding in history. And the most perfect, James said, kissing her again. Eli and Noah hugged each other, proud. Mission accomplished, Eli whispered. We're the best cupids in the world, Noah agreed. And for the first time in a long while, the Langston house felt complete. 3 weeks after the twins' magical wedding, James was nervous. More nervous than at any business meeting he had ever attended. He had spent the last few days secretly planning with Eli and Noah what they called Operation Real Wedding, because, according to the unshakable logic of 6-year-olds, a wedding with toilet paper crowns didn't officially count. Dad, did you buy the ring yet? Eli whispered over breakfast while Sophia was in the kitchen. Yes, James whispered back, patting the pocket of his jacket. And did you prepare the romantic speech? Noah asked. I tried. But you know I'm not very good with pretty words. It doesn't have to be pretty, Eli said wisely. It just has to be true. What if she says no? James ran a hand through his hair. Anxious. Dad. Noah rolled his eyes. She already said she loves you. And you've kissed a bunch of times. And she lets you make slime in your office, Eli added. That's true love. That afternoon, James set his plan in motion. He invited Sophia for a picnic in the backyard, claiming the boys wanted to test new sandwich recipes. That's an odd outfit for a picnic, Sophia said when she saw him come out of the house. James was wearing a flawless navy blue suit with brightly colored flip-flops Eli and Noah had insisted he wear. The boys said it was mandatory, he explained. A little embarrassed. Of course they did, Sophia laughed. And where are they? They're getting the surprise ready. In the backyard, James had set up a scene that mixed elegance with the typical Langston family chaos. There were real flowers, a professional arrangement he had ordered, but also the boys' drawings hanging from the trees. Classical music played softly, interrupted now and then by laughter coming from inside the house. James, what's going on? Sophia asked, suspicious. Have a seat, he said, pointing to a chair decorated with colorful ribbons. Sophia sat down, curious. That's when Eli and Noah ran out the back door, followed by Lady Beatrice, Henry, Clara, and at least 10 neighborhood kids who had secretly been invited to form a choir. Surprise! They all shouted. What? Sophia looked around, confused. James got down on one knee in the grass and pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. Sophia Alvarez, he began, his voice shaking. You came into our lives like a colorful hurricane and turned everything upside down. James, she covered her mouth with her hands. You taught me that it's okay to laugh at our own messes, that slime can fix almost anything, and that a family doesn't have to be perfect to be perfect. Eli and Noah stood beside their dad, clearly moved. "Will you marry me?" James asked. "For real this time, with paperwork and everything, and become our official mom?" Eli added. "Forever and ever?" Noah finished. Sophia looked at the ring, a simple and beautiful solitaire, then at James kneeling in flip-flops, then at the eager boys, and finally at the impromptu audience. "This is completely crazy," she said. "It is," James agreed. "And you've all been plotting behind my back for weeks." "Guilty," Noah admitted. "And you're proposing to me in the backyard in flip-flops, in front of a kids' choir." "All true," James said, smiling nervously. Sophia stood up from the chair. "Then my answer is yes," she shouted, leaping into James's arms and knocking them both into the grass. The children's choir erupted in cheers. Lady Beatrice clapped gracefully. Henry and Clara were grinning from ear to ear. James slipped the ring onto Sophia's finger as they lay there in the grass, both laughing. "Time to party," Eli announced. The party was exactly what you'd expect from an event planned by 6-year-old twins. There was a cake made entirely of stacked marshmallows held together with melted chocolate. The kids' choir sang an off-key version of "Can't Help Falling in Love," which they had secretly rehearsed. Henry played the guitar, a talent no one knew he had, and Lady Beatrice surprised everyone by dancing with Noah. "Mr. and Mrs. Langston," said the unlikely officiant. "Mr. Thompson," their retired neighbor who had been called in last minute, "you may kiss." When James and Sophia kissed, officially as husband and wife, Sophia tripped over the microphone cord and almost knocked over the marshmallow cake. "Classic," Eli shouted, clapping. "Our new mom is still the clumsiest," Noah added, laughing. "And that's why we love her," James said, holding Sophia tight. Hours later, after the guests had gone and Eli and Noah had finally passed out from all the excitement, James and Sophia were in the living room, dancing barefoot to soft music. "Mrs. Langston," James whispered in her ear, "how does it feel to officially be part of this madness?" "Like I've come home," she answered. Upstairs, the drone Eli had insisted on flying during the party was still recording, capturing the moment. The two of them dancing slowly, surrounded by the remains of the most chaotic and perfect party in Seattle. "James," Sophia said, resting her head on his chest. "Huh? Thank you for letting me ruin your neat little life. Thank you for showing me that chaos can be beautiful, and that slime solves almost anything, and that marshmallows count as a food group, and that families are built with love, not with planning." James pulled her closer. "You think we're going to make it, this whole family thing?" "We'll mess up a few things along the way," Sophia said with a smile. "Definitely. There'll be tough days, no doubt. And the boys will come up with even crazier stuff, for sure. But there will be lots of love, lots of laughter." "A lot," James agreed. They kept dancing, and James realized this was exactly the life he wanted. Chaotic, colorful, and full of surprises.